Crypto is a scam. It's the currency of criminals. It's just a tool for money laundering, and it's bad for the environment. Sound familiar? Well, these are some harsh criticisms of the blockchain industry that are typically thrown around, and often this messaging is perpetuated by those in power in governments across the world, including the United States. But just this past week, we saw two massive moves inside the US that are a complete 180 from this stance, and I believe is the beginning of a big change in how crypto is viewed across the world. I really can't overstate how big of a deal this is. So if you didn't catch the events that happened last week, or you don't realize how to connect the dots to see what can potentially happen after this, then I'm explaining everything in this video as a blockchain developer myself who works this technology on a daily basis. So if you're new around here, hey, I'm Gregory, and on this channel I turn you into a blockchain master. So if that's something that you're interested in, then smash that like button down below and subscribe. And if you want to learn the best way to capitalize on the blockchain space, the absolute best way to do that is to increase your income by becoming a blockchain developer. And I can show you how to do that step by step from start to finish over at dappuniversity.com/bootcamp. All right, so let's talk about these big events that happened just the past week in the crypto space and why they're such a massive deal for this industry going forward. So in this video, we are unfortunately going to have to get political. These are some of my least favorite videos to make because, well, they're typically some of my least watched videos, and politics is, well, polarizing. But crypto has increasingly become a political issue, as you'll see in this video, and politics are a critical part of the success in this industry and could be the make or break on whether this actually flourishes over the next decade. So I'll try to remain politically neutral as possible and fair in this video, but will undoubtedly, touch on topics where, everybody may not see eye to eye. With that being said, why is crypto so political? Well, simply put, it's because of regulations and incentives. There's so much that we can do with this technology right now, but simply doing these things, could land you in jail or with hefty fines, or just may not be able to get adopted because of the incentives that are in place. And many people are hesitant to participate in crypto because they just don't trust it, and a lot of that messaging is perpetuated by those in power. But just in the past few weeks, we've seen some massive shifts in this stance, and these actions speak louder than words. So what are these two big things? Well, number one is the spot ETF approval for Ether inside the United States. I just made a video about that. I'm not gonna get to that too much in this video. Go check that out if you haven't already. But number two is the passage of the FIT21 bill by the U.S. House Representatives, particularly with large Democratic support. That's the important part. So what is the FIT21 bill and why is it such a big deal? FIT just stands for Financial Innovation and Technology for the 21st Century Act, so FIT21. And this was passed by the U.S. House Representatives with bipartisan support like I was just talking about. But what does this bill really do? What does it accomplish? Why is it good for the industry? Well, the big overarching point is that it provides regulatory clarity, or at least some regulatory clarity for the crypto industry. And that's one of the biggest things that's holding us back, is just clearly saying, hey, here's what you can do and here's what you can't do. Because if you think about it, that's a pretty easy way to keep people from acting without having to try too hard, to just keep them in the dark on what's legal and what's not. Basically put this person in jail, slap fines on these people, and we're not really sure exactly what is fair game and what's not. And you don't have to do the hard work of actually codifying that into legislation. But here we see a complete 180 from that stance, okay? And once we have this type of regulatory clarity and say, hey, here are the lines that you can color inside of, that's actually going to spark innovation inside the United States, which is a big deal in my opinion. I think other countries will follow suit, because if you think about it, if you, ran a country, and just pretend like you're a dictator here for a second, wouldn't you want, the innovation to happen inside of your country where you can benefit from the GDP growth, the taxes, all that type of stuff, rather than completely pushing it offshore to somewhere else? Well, if I was running a country, I would want that to happen as well. And therefore, in order to do that, we need clear regulations about what you can and can't do inside the crypto space, because the technology is there, okay? There's lots of stuff we can do with crypto today, right now, that most people just aren't pulling the trigger on because we don't have this regulatory clarity. I mean, after all, it is uncensorable technology that you can do things where the government can't interfere with you doing it, but that doesn't mean there's not consequences, okay? Just like you could go rob a convenience store right now, like nobody's really stopping you from doing that, but obviously there's going to be consequences to those actions. So what are some of the highlights from this particular bill? Well, one is the delineation of responsibility of the SEC and the CFTC when it comes to crypto, with clearer guidance as to what makes a digital asset a security or not. That was one of the big things, keeping people in the dark on whether or not the Ether ETF was going to get approved. It did, and this helps, codify that as well. So token or app creators have to provide detailed disclosures about their projects, what that you think is a win. Exchanges and brokers must segregate customer funds and stick to strict requirements to keep customer funds safe, which I think is a win based on what happened with FTX previously. And a clearer path for token securities to trade on exchanges, which is what we want. We want to be able to launch tokens that even if we classify these as securities, we can actually take the proper measures, treat those products like that, and then clearly get listed on exchanges. And so like I hinted at a minute ago, this bill had strong bipartisan support. And I want to drill into that because that's really important, meaning it had pretty strong support from the Democratic Party. Now, this is really easy to start stepping on some toes, but the public perception is largely that the Democratic Party just doesn't like crypto. Okay, so to make that what it is, just go ask anybody. That's probably what they're going to say. And that's not to say that the Republican Party up until this point has been unapologetically pro-crypto, but we don't see the same type of strong anti-crypto messaging coming out of that side of the aisle. However, this past week, both of those things shifted in significant ways, and you have to see how that happened. Of course, the Democratic Party showed by their actions that they're not just adamantly anti-crypto with the passage of this bill, at least in the House of Representatives. But what influenced this? Okay, so this is where things get really crazy, and I think this is really where Donald Trump comes into the equation. All right, now, love him, hate him, somewhere in between. I think that his actions over the past few weeks have really influenced the course of events that we've seen here. So what happened? Well, we saw Trump, really come out in support of crypto in a big way. This started with a speech where he made some remarks about it. He's taken to social media to say that Donald Trump is building a crypto army. He started taking crypto donations on his website. We're starting to see, social media posts like this. I'm very positive and open-minded to cryptocurrency companies and all things related to this new and burgeoning technology. Our country must be the leader in the field. There is no second place. That's really strong language that we've never seen from a presidential candidate before. And so you might say, okay, so Trump's getting loud about crypto. How does that affect the actions of the Democratic Party? Why would that affect, the spot Ether ETF getting approved? Why would that, affect bipartisan support, Democratic support of this bill that just passed the House of Representatives? Well, I think Trump's loud support of this has surprised a lot of people and how positively this has been received. And I think what we're seeing here is that there's a lot of political pressure on the Democrats to where they're saying hey, being adamantly anti-crypto is a losing strategy. And there's a lot at stake in 2024 with the presidential election and all the seats that are open for the 2024 races. So being anti-crypto loudly and adamantly is bad, full stop. And so because of that, I don't think it's an accident that we've seen, a change in messaging and support of this bipartisan crypto bill. And it's hard to know exactly what happened behind the scenes with the approval of the spot Ether ETF last minute. Again, nobody thought this was going to happen. This stuff happened, and then boom, the spot Ether ETF was approved, despite the betting odds being 90% in the opposite direction. So I don't think these things are coincidences. So again, love him, hate him, somewhere in between. I think Trump's actions played a big part in what unfolded over the past few weeks. And I think this puts political pressure on both sides of the aisle to be accommodative of crypto in the United States, which ultimately I think is a good thing. And so really, I think that what we've seen over the past week is just the beginning. Okay, it's just the tip of the iceberg. It's just the first domino that can fall, that can topple down all of the others. Okay, so what are some future implications of this? Okay, this is really just the beginning. Well, number one is I think we're going to see crypto start to thrive when there is regulatory clarity. I think we're going to have more incentives to do, crypto development inside the United States. And as a result, seeing that working in the US, we're probably going to see lots of other countries follow suit, which is an overall win for this industry, create more jobs, create more demand for the technology, which I think goes on to the second point, which is more trust in crypto. There's lots of people who are sitting on the sidelines who are like, hey, I'm just not really sure about this crypto thing. They saw FTX blow up. They saw people lose their shirt with Terra Luna and all these other crazy things that have ever happened in crypto. A lot of people getting bad experience and say, I don't really sure that I want to do that. But and then they also hear, people in power saying, crypto's bad, it's a scam, it's used by criminals, money laundering, all that type of stuff. But if the volume gets turned down on that, and we actually see positive messaging for crypto and sort of the social proof when people look around and see, this person does it, that person does it. Some of the fear around crypto will start to subside, and that will naturally cause more people to start adopting this technology. And then finally, in the short to medium term, I think what we're seeing is really bullish for the crypto markets, going into the elections. Okay. Like I was talking about before, I think crypto is increasingly becoming a political issue. I think we're going to see more talk of crypto during the elections. It would not surprise me if it came up as a presidential debate question. And a lot of that, what that's going to do is make crypto top of mind, and crypto really thrives on attention. And the more attention it gets going to the election, I think that's nothing but bullish for the crypto markets going forward. So let me know what you think down in the comment section below. Had you caught up on the events of the last few weeks? Do you think this is actually a big deal? Do you have something insightful that I missed in this video, or do you think I'm dead wrong? I want to hear from you. And whenever you finish, make sure you smash that like button down below, subscribe to this channel. And if you want to capitalize on the crazy opportunity happening in the crypto space, especially as this type of innovation heats up with these developments, the absolute best way to do that is to become a blockchain developer and increase your income. And I can show you how to do that step-by-step from start to finish over at dappuniversity.com/bootcamp. You really have to be an expert to get started today. I've helped people with zero coding experience become real-world blockchain developers in a matter of months. So that's all I've got. The next time, thanks for watching Dapp University.